Fit in here. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this morning's service again. And so today's the shorter service where we have a discussion. And so I'm going to read today's teachings, this morning's teachings. So every day there's different teachings that we can remind ourselves to help us stay on track. And so the first teaching is, the first teaching is, true faith is to receive the great blessing of ease. True faith is to receive the great blessing of ease. True faith is to receive the great blessing of ease. Ease as in your life will be easier, or easy, having an easier life is the true blessing, or a great blessing, to have that ease. Less hardship in our lives. Smoothly. The other teaching is, a good way to thank Kami for the blessings that you realize is to share them with others. Do not just receive blessings, share them. A good way to thank Kami for the blessings that you realize is to share them with others. Do not just receive blessings, share them. And the next one is, Kami bestows divine favor equally. To recognize and appreciate this divine favor, however, you must have complete faith in Kami. Kami bestows divine favor equally. To recognize and appreciate this divine favor, however, you must have complete faith in Kami. And then the last one, anger casts a cloud over one's heart. Anger casts a cloud over one's heart. And so I'll go first. The one that resonated with me today was anger casts a cloud over one's heart. I'm sure everybody, because we're human, we have the whole spectrum of emotions, right? From happy to sad to angry, fear, all kinds of emotions that we go through in our lives. And sometimes, this one, it's a short teaching. Anger casts a cloud over one's heart. But the reason why it's so important is because Joanne Sensei even mentioned it to me yesterday, that when you have anger, you can't be grateful. You can't say thank you and be angry at the same time. It doesn't work, right? It's like a huge conflict. And so this is a reminder for us, or for me, to think about our emotional state, that to really have some emotional control. And so to go back to the main goal of having a grateful, sincere heart. And so to get there, we have, it's hard. Right? When we're stressed out, when there's things that are out of our control, it's just difficult when emotional turmoil starts. And it's like there, you just can't drain it. It's just there. And so what do you do? Right? What do you do? What are we supposed to do at these times of you can't help it at all? And so one thing I do is I breathe, I pray. And so what my mom tells me all the time is to just say the divine name. Kind of, we said the divine name like 25 times on the altar today. And so I do that too, to help kind of, it's like a mantra to get my mind off of things. And it's interesting how the universe listens, and it helps calm myself down. It works for me, and it might work for you. Everybody has different ways to cope with their emotional distress. And so the founder understood human nature, that human nature, anger is there, sadness is there, despair is there, depression, all kinds of emotions we go through as people, it creates a lot of suffering in our life. And having suffering in our life, it's really hard to be going back to gratitude. Really hard to be grateful when we're suffering from something in our life. And so this teaching, just to think about it, to think about how we have emotional control. Emotional control is difficult, but it's doable over time through practice, through mistakes. I recently made a mistake. I lost my temper one day and I broke my arm, and so I don't have a cast anymore, which is great. But it's just all these learning lessons. Everything is a learning lesson. There's always something to take away from in all our experiences. We go through experiences knowing that in our faith we know that Kami-sama. You might have heard this quote too, like life doesn't give you suffering that you can't handle. It might feel like we can't handle it. It might feel like we're at the brink of like just going off the cliff, but coming somehow the universe gives us, or we're blessed with challenges, these experiences in our life to help better ourselves. And by overcoming these challenges over time with help, we can, it helps to understand life better. And we can also, again, understand other people's suffering better as a result too. And so like that previous teaching, when you realize divine blessings, don't just keep them for yourself, share them. And so that's how I see sharing them. When people overcome... Oh yeah, I thought that was... A happy person probably, yeah. But so sometimes when we overcome difficulty and hardship, we gain that experience. We gain that experience, which then we can help share our experiences of how we overcame this hardship. And that's what today is for, actually, is to have a discussion on your thoughts, on your faith experience. It could even just be sharing a blessing that you received this past week, or just a thought that you had when you're hearing these teachings, or just a thought in your life. Like, how do you apply your life with this faith, with faith in general? How are we mindful in our daily lives? Because every single day we make decisions, we make choices, right? And there's always something that happens. There's always a hang-up. There's always crazy drivers on the road. That's the common one that I see. And so it really tests our patience, and tests our faith. And so it's a good time, it's a safe place to share what kind of experiences we have, and we can learn from each other, sharing our blessings today. And so I hope everyone has something to share. And if you don't want to share, it's totally fine. We respect your privacy as well. So did anybody resonate with any of the teachings today? I could repeat some of them. So true faith is to receive the great blessing of ease. A good way to thank Kami for the blessings that you realize is to share them with others. Anger casts a cloud over one's heart. And the last one, Kami bestows divine favor equally. To recognize and appreciate this divine favor, however, you must have complete faith in Kami. Any of the teachings resonate with anyone? Yes, Gary. Oh, yes.
The one regarding ease.
Yes.
I like that because I don't think I have a quality. Oh, excuse me, I have to sneeze here. The quality inside me that would allow me to, say, serve on a board, even though I have as a literary figure of some stature in the country, I don't think I could serve on something. And so I realized that maybe I'm just meant to sit on the couch and not do a whole lot. And I've served on artist boards, and I thought about maybe I should serve on the Konko board here too. And I thought, I asked my wife, maybe you could, do you think I can serve on the Konko board when it comes, and she was absolutely not. So I thought, okay. So I like the idea of just the ease part, and I can contribute in other ways, but I don't think I have that personality that will allow me to do anything grand. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Oh, Hiroshi had a comment as well?
Okay. Well, for those who don't know, this is Gary Soto, and you might have read some of his books.
Well, I don't know.
Hiroshi had a comment as well.
So can you repeat that one about the ease? No, the anger.
Oh, the anger. Anger casts a cloud over one's heart. Anger casts a cloud over one's heart. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a sort of easy one. It says that you had mentioned driving.
Yes.
And I can remember my attitude used to always be, that person's trying to cut me off, I'm going to get in front of him. And, keep gradually stay in front so he can't cut in. And I can remember one time I was going on the Bay Bridge, going towards work, and I could see from the right, there's this person was trying to cut in front. So I kept getting in front of the person. Later on, I found out that it was the daughter of a friend of mine. She said, yeah, Hiroshi wouldn't let me in. But, so I think, I think over the decades, I've changed my attitude now. It's not, before it was, don't let them in, they're trying to take advantage of you. So now I ease up and say, yeah, and I think it's better in the sense that when you have that anger or that edge, you're not at ease. You're always tense. Trying to think that people are trying to take advantage of you or something. So,
Thank you for sharing that. That's,
I have a question for you. So Hiroshi, when you're driving and you want to get in another lane, are you as understanding that that person doesn't want to let you in? Or do you get upset?
Well, my wife used to always say, signal before you get in. And then my answer was, if you signal before you get in, you telegraph your intentions. So I would not signal. I would just gradually zip in there.
like LA driving.
But yeah, so but I find that more and more people are respectful. They let you in, and especially in the city, where you have these crazy roads where you have mergers all of a sudden, or where there's construction.
Yeah.
Again, people are more understanding. But so anyway, I've definitely changed over the decades.
Oh, good.
So hopefully young guys would do that early on.
Going like Hiroshi's, in Hawaii, there's a certain driving style that they do in Hawaii. They say thank you and you're welcome, which is interesting. It works really well. You can do it here in the Bay Area too. So whenever you cut off somebody, just say, oh, I'm sorry, and then they'll back away. They'll actually make them try it, experiment with that. Yeah, whenever you lane change in front of somebody, do this, and then they'll back away. It's done dozens of times. It works. Yeah, and then when somebody somebody will actually say thank you too, and say you're welcome, and then they say another welcome. You can also do hazard lights. Beeping hazard lights twice is thank you. And so if you see that, they're not calling you out to race on the freeway, they're saying thank you. And so,
The drivers are more polite now?
yes. No, drivers are not more polite. I think the pandemic, people forgot manners. So, yeah, there's a lot of crowding. But just by waving thank you helps a lot with people's anger. It calms the person down because it's an acknowledgement, a validation of what they allowed them to go in, kind of thing. It's interesting. And then going on Gary's thing too, about the ease, I think, and what Johnson mentioned this morning too, about having a smooth life, like a good wavelength of, we're all going to go through ups and downs, but nothing too drastic, but we're still having kind of like an ease, I think the ease part is that whatever happens, that's what I noticed with some church members here too, is that whatever happens in their life, because they have such deep faith, they can create ease out of suffering. And there's this teaching about like a big issue can become a minor issue, and a minor issue becomes nothing at all over time through faith, through understanding, again, this main teaching of gratitude. And so life becomes easier through our practice of faith. That's the goal anyway. Of course it's hard to do, but that's what these teachings are. It's again a reminder for our goal to pursue that whatever happens in our life, having a smooth life is also a blessing.
Did you want to share?
Yes, Susan?
Susan?
I can't, where is that, the mic? Okay, all right, thank you. I'm Susan, excuse me, I'm Susan Kitagawa. This is my first time here. and I wanted to share a thought about anger and emotions in general. I don't always told to control our emotions or try to, and I think sometimes when we have space, it's very healthy to explore our emotions. And I wanted to share something that a friend told me, her therapist told her, that was very useful for her. It's easier at least in our American culture, to show anger, especially maybe for men, but just people in general. It's more acceptable to be angry and righteously angry, and it's not so acceptable to feel sad or afraid. And her therapist told her that a lot of times we use anger to cover up our sadness and our fear, and that when we're feeling angry, especially when there's more time, like you're angry at another person ongoing, or a family member or something, or someone in the community, to ask yourself, what's the sadness and what's the fear that I have underneath the anger? And that not only takes away this focus on the anger, but it gives us some insight into our own reaction to what's going on that maybe doesn't even have anything to do with the other person, and pushes us to grow. And I thought that was a very useful idea that she shared from her therapist. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Susan. That's wonderful. Yeah, there's always something deeper in there that manifests through our actions and emotions, right? So, thank you so much. That's really helpful.
That's true. When I went through a big hardship, I actually used the anger because that feeling was easier to deal with than the actual, pain and sadness that we go through, because we're trying to avoid pain, right? So being angry is an easier emotion to deal with than to really get down to the sadness and depression and that pain level. So when we get healthier, then we can explore that pain and sadness level and let go of the anger. But yes.
Because anger focuses on the other person. And the
You don't feel
fear is like what's happening with me.
Right. Yeah. So you're not really the pain is not touching our hearts as much when we're focusing on the anger. But as you said, so in this society, well, actually, just for our own mental health, it's good to acknowledge if we are angry. And then when we acknowledge that anger, then it's easier to let go. But it's not good to suppress anger. So even we have a teaching that said that, to someone that appeared calm, he says, you are only suppressing your anger. The training is to not have anger at all. And so, but to get to that point, you have to go through that transition of acknowledging the anger, and then trying to see blessings and gratitude, focusing on what things you are grateful for, and then you can get to that point where, you don't have the anger anymore. So that's why I was mentioning to Rodney Sensei about you can't be thankful and angry at the same time. It's just not possible. You can try, but it's just not possible to do. And so with this faith, we focus on the appreciation. And then with this faith, so for my own self, when I'm going through really big hardship or big stress, I think about the fact that in this faith, we do believe in the afterlife, and that and in this faith, we believe that we each are unique. We are unique when we're born, and we're all born with a piece of the divine parent in our hearts. So we all start out godlike, but then things happen to us along the way, or how we interpret the world. So we get dust on our hearts, and so that filters our way of looking at things. It's like the teaching about the cloud, anger casts a cloud over our heart. This anger, or this life we have, when this is, as we know, this is a temporary life. Our physical life is our temporary life, but our spiritual life, we believe, is our eternal life. It's everlasting, our spiritual life. So in our spiritual life, we believe we continue to live here between heaven and earth. We don't believe in heaven as a separate place away or hell as a separate place, but we do believe that we create our own heaven and hell in our hearts. And then rather than focusing on evil or the devil causing us to have bad behavior or bad actions, we believe we need to take responsibility for our own actions. And so we believe that because we're living in the body of the Divine Parent, that this is our eternal home, so we don't have to fear death, because we know this is where we're going to remain and be among the living people to help protect and guide them, as well as pray for their eternal peace and happiness. We have that interdependent relationship. So that's why when I'm going through a really big hardship or stress, I think, well, you know what? Even if I transition to my spiritual form, I'm going to be all right. You know, I'm going to be all right because we're going to be together with our Divine Parent and with our loved ones who have transitioned or gone before us. So that really gives me a lot of peace of mind in this faith.
Thank you, Yonsei. Thank you. Any thoughts? Any questions? Would you like to ask the congregation too?
Oh, yeah, so this is...
Yes, any thoughts or questions, anything, yeah.
So we have with us today, we have seniors. Are you all seniors in the World Religion class of the St. Ignatius High School? And so they're here to learn more about our faith, so we can pass it off to you. Okay, and introduce yourselves.
And welcome Susan as well.
Welcome, Susan.
Welcome Susan too. Kitazawa.
Like the seed company.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Luke. I'm James. And my name's Joey. I guess one reflection I had on the third teaching with the anger clouding our hearts, I think that oftentimes, like, in life, what we're looking for, what we perceive our life to be, that's often what we find. Like, if you're looking to be angry, you don't always find a reason to be angry, but I think that when you have anger, it can often cloud what's actually happening. Like, even if you have the great success in your life, you don't always find imperfection or like something wrong with it. I think that when you can get rid of anger, that can really allow you to see the true like picture of what your life is and what state your life is in right now. So.
Yeah, oh, that totally makes sense. Yeah, become tunnel vision towards criticism and being critical. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
For me, I can tell when I get angry, like James was saying, I get really tunnel visioned. I'm not as productive with work. I'll notice like during the school year, when I get like stressed out about like schoolwork and homework and all this stuff that's going on. Right now, us three all have college applications, which gets pretty stressful, and it's just a lot going on. But I notice one thing I need to do better at is clearing my headspace when I get home to make sure that I can get more stuff done, because when I'm stressed or angry about something that happened at school that day, I notice I'm not as productive, and so I think that's something I need to work on.
All right, thanks for sharing, Joey.
Yeah, one reflection I had is just generally when I get very emotional in any way, whether it's super angry or sad or scared, it tends to cloud my thoughts. And one way I view it is like in sports. So if I get very stressed about sports or I get angry about the way I'm playing, that's all I can think about, and it kind of affects the way I view the game and the way I perform later. And this applies to like everything. It applies to tests, to sports, homework, like everything. And so I feel like just allowing yourself a second to kind of calm yourself down and think about things helps a lot, and to kind of clear your mind.
Yeah, great, thank you. What kind of sports do you play?
Me and I both on the football team.
Wow.
Plays lacrosse.
Yeah.
Whoa. Hope you guys stay safe.
Another thing I wanted to share about that is like, we may realize that when we are angry, our hearts are closed, right? And we're thankful, that's when our hearts are open. So when you are preparing to do anything, if we start with a heart of gratitude, of thankfulness, then we can see our mind opening and our heart opening, and we are less stressed, and then we can, we don't have that tunnel vision anymore. You're able to take in more things and have more realizations when we open our hearts and our minds, and when our hearts have gratitude in it.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to add,
Anyone want to
share
share?
anything? Anything else?
No?
No question for you, Francis.
Ooh.
But we didn't ask Doug.
Oh, yeah, Doug's upstairs now, yeah.
So you worked for Davida before, right?
What?
You worked for Davida?
Gambro, yeah, that was bought out by DaVita.
Oh,
The
so anyway,
business unit.
on television, they have all these commercials. What is it, Proposition 29 or something, where I don't quite understand what's going on, because they both seem to have good points of view. That, what is it, if you vote yes, they're going to affect the people on dialysis, and if you vote the other way, the same thing happens, but, so I don't know who to believe. So what's your impression of that?
So actually, right now, I gather all my material for voting, and I see both sides, just like superficially what I see on the TV. So actually, I have not studied. So, before the election, before I send in my ballot, I do all the research, and so I haven't done my research yet. Sorry. Because it goes,
Yeah, you get it?
Yeah.
The other teachings were, the true faith is to receive the great blessing of ease. Kami bestows divine favor equally. To recognize and appreciate this divine favor, however, you must have complete faith in Kami. A good way to thank Kami for the blessings that you realize is to share them with others. Don't just receive blessings, share them. Yeah. Oh, we have one more. I realize there's one more. Yeah, this is really important. Overeating, overdrinking is the cause of hunger and misfortune. Overeating and overdrinking is the cause of hunger and misfortune.
This relates to everything, like, moderation is best and not excessive about anything. Moderation is best. Our founder had a teaching, there was a story of two brothers who came to the mediation place for mediation. And so one brother went up, and the founder said, do you drink? And the person said yes. And then he said, you shouldn't drink, he said to him. And then the other brother overheard it, and so when he went up and the founder said, do you drink? He said, no, I don't drink at all. And then the founder said, oh, you should drink, it's good to have balance in your life. So two things. One is you shouldn't, it's important to be sincere and not to say what you expect the mediator to respond to. And the other thing is that for mediation, each person who goes up, you get a unique response to whatever you present, whether you're giving thanks for something, or you're apologizing for something, or you're making a request either for yourself or other people or the world. And then we have teachings that are revelations that our founder received, which we do incorporate for a custom-tailored response to the believer, but also the act of the mediation process itself is alive and unique, and so new teachings are created based on the person coming in and what their needs are. And so the mediation place, it's a place to share our hearts, whatever's in our heart. And it also depends on how sincere and honest we want to be, that you'll get the responses back. So if you just come up and go, hi, like I did when I first went up there. I thought, okay, I'll just say hi, and then the minister's going to say something profound, right? So I go up there and I say hello, and then the head minister at the time, Reverend Matsui, he's the first person, picture up there, he's the third head minister. I don't think he said much, and I was so disappointed. I'm like, I thought he was going to say something like earth-shattering to me, you know? So I walked away and I realized, you know what? I gave him nothing to work with. I didn't say anything else. I was like, what was I expecting him to say, right? So it really depends. It's that relationship. It takes both people to go up, and then that sincerity and openness and heart, yeah, to learn more about the Divine Parent's love for us and the workings of the universe, that we're just one individual among many, so we're not the center of the world. And so going up there for mediation reminds us, it helps us have a broader understanding of what's going on in our lives, about the orchestrating of the workings of the universe and our part in it, but to let us, realize that, it's not just ourselves, and that and anything that happens to us, even if we see it as a challenge or a hardship or a struggle, all these things we believe our Divine Parent gives us to help us improve as people, to help us learn and grow. Yes, so that's what that ease is. It's not that everything is going to just go smoothly and you're not going to have any troubles, because it's through struggles that we grow and have that compassion for others as well, right? So it's similar to a daikon. Are you familiar with a white radish? The daikon is the name of the Japanese fat radish. So the radish, it's known to be, it's best if the radish is very strong, has a strong taste. If it has a mild taste, it's not considered to be a good radish. But when the radish is growing in the ground, it's more of the struggles that it goes through that creates that strong taste. So that's just like an analogy.
Thank you. Oh, Gary, you want? Yeah. All right. Great. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for sharing too. Yeah, putting you guys on the spot. It's a safe place. It's a safe place. It's a non-judgment place, and so I want people to feel comfortable being able to share with their heart what blessings and what thoughts they have, and that's really important, to feel comfortable. And so so we're going to end with the faith movement. There's two prayers for closing. At the back of the prayer book, there's going to be a little leaflet called the Faith Movement, and we're going to read this together. So the faith movement: Kami and us, completing each other, live the faith. Let us live a mutually fulfilled life with Kami. Let us seek and receive Kami's words through mediation. Let us awaken to Kami's blessings in unconditional love. Let us live a joyful life of appreciation. Let us pray for, help, and guide one another with a compassionate heart of Kami. Let us truly live the way of Kami in all people in mutual fulfillment. And then on page 15, we're going to have a closing prayer on page 15.